Morning to everyone. So today I am academic counselor Pradhan Biswas. So today MMPH GJ2 Human Resource Management and block 2. Today I have to discuss the block 2, that is sourcing of HR. Sourcing of the HR. So there let's see how many units are there, and then we have to uh, see the concept of the particular units and in detail. So in this block 2, there are sourcing of human resources. The unit 4 is the HR planning, human resource planning. And unit number 5 is the job analysis, design and evaluations. And unit number 6 is recruitment and selections. Unit number 7 is your socializations and mobility. So this is your block 2, the context. So now we have to concentrate, we have to focus on block 2 only today. And now first things, planning, HR planning. As we know, planning is required because human intervention is required, because what are the automation, what about the machineries, everything is there, but still somebody has to operate the things. That's why it is a criticality, why it is required, the manpower requirement, and then the planning is required, so that you have to recruit the correct persons so that you can scale and your objectives can be fulfilled. So human intervention is always, that's why the resources is very important, and that should be a part of your planning. So now let's see the what are the contents in between the planning purpose. Human resource planning may be defined as a strategy for the acquisitions, utilizations, development, and retention of the human resource in the enterprises. That is the basic idea. The objective is to provide the right human, as I said, the sources for the right work, and optimum utilizations of the existing human resources. You have to utilize the manpower also. Major activities of the HRB include the forecasting, then your inventorying, then your anticipating, comparison of the present and the future requirements of the planning. All these parameters, the dimension you have to see. Now, what are the objectives? The following are the objectives are there. First thing, assessing the manpower needs and plan for the requirement and selections. Internally and externally, how much people are required for particular this project or job, that you have to explore, assess the things and declare for the manpower. Then assessing the skill requirement and the future, determining the training and development, and anticipating the surplus of the shortage of the staff. You have to anticipate how much really your staff is surplus or not, or maybe the shortage. Both the things can be identified from the planning itself. Then controlling wages and the salary cost, because if it is a the manpower is more, then definitely it will be cost effective, because more money you have to give for the salaries, and so somehow you have to control the things. Ensure the optimal utilization of the HR, helping the organizations to cope with the technological development and the modernization, because how much manpower is required to adopt the technology, that also you can also plan accordingly. Ensure the career planning and making the succession programs also required, because how much people are to be retired, and accordingly that in a backup, that gap can be maintained, so that before that you have to prepare for that, how much manpower is required, how many people are required. So that's why the succession planning is also very important. That also we are coming from the, we can get it from the planning itself. Ensuring the higher level productivity also. Then what are the benefits? Benefits is create a reservoir of the talent. We can create the talent, we can reserve it. Then preparation of the future HR needs. Then promote the employees in a systematic manner. You can promote the people, yes, this much required as per the plan. You can project it earlier by the discussion with the departmental head how much people are required for the coming financial year. Then accordingly you have to recruit the persons. So these things can be available from the planning basis. So systematic way you can do it. Provide the basis of the HRD and help in career and succession planning. All these are benefit of the HRD. The need for HRD at in macro level, because in the macro level you have to see where the employment and your employment and unemployment situations. So that's why you have to see in the macro levels and you have to emphasize the things. Technological changes, because of the technical changes, you have to consider it in a very big way. You have to see, and then demographic changes, skill shortages, and government influences, legislative controls. So all this part of the required. Just one minute. Your legislative controls, all are the need for the, you would see in a macro level condition that you have to see it. Now, need for HRD. What is the need for HRD? So that is the impact on pressure groups, then your systems concept and lead time. During the lead time, then how many, what the way you can plan it. Ultimately, human should not be in ideally in a standalone conditions. Always you have to accelerate the things in active manners. So that all these things have to consider it. That's the need for the HRD. Now here from the diagrams are given where the same thing which just now we have discussed, same thing are now in a part of the external factors and the internal factors. External factors are where the government policies, then your level of economic development, business environment, and your level of technology, then your international factors is all are your things are there. Now in internal part is there are policies and the strategies of the company. Then and even in the practices, what are the practices are there? HR policy and the company, then your formal and informal groups, job analysis, time horizons, type of quality informations, and finally the trade unions. So all are internal factors for the determinants of the HR. So because when you are preparing for the planning, HR planning, definitely you have to understand, you have to see the what are the determinants of these things. So particularly this area, segmented area, you have to work out. I mean, you have to focus on these things. Then external factor, same thing, just what in the diagram, same thing is repeated. So I can now skip these things. Now see the level, national, sectorial, industrial, and unit levels. There are so many levels are there. It has to be carried out. Then national levels, HRP is successive 5 years plans, and sectoral levels, basically in the government, central and the state levels, where industrial sectors, agricultural sectors, etc. You have to plan for these things. Then industrial levels, unit levels also. There are plant levels, departmental levels, division levels. Further, this unit level are again bifurcated in different levels. Now, HR planning process. In this process, you have to first things assessing the human resource, then demand forecastings, supply forecastings, matching the demand and supply, action plans. So all are the steps. The processing of the planning, you have to prepare in the mind what are the steps and the process. And all the process are sequentially, means one after one. First you assess the things, then after that demand forecasting, supply forecasting, and match both the things. Where if any gaps are there in the supply and demand, that has to be modified and to see how best you can do it. Now focus. To focus on some of these steps. First things, talent inventory to assess the current human resources and analysis how they can be used currently. Forecast should be predicted future HR requirements, skills, requirement, and the labor supply. Another focus area that is up to enlarge the pool of people qualified to fill the vacancies through various methods. That is one of the focus. What the way you can pull out different talent peoples to attract your things. Review and the monitoring to provide the feedback on the overall effectiveness of the HRP. So that is also required. Review, time to time review is important. Now the major stages of the HRP are as follows. What are the different stages? Analyzing the operational plan, then human resource demand, your things, estimating the future, then manpower gaps, depending upon the requirement, human resources having the desire to come up with the existing surplus, human resources having the desired schemes are matched. If not found, then shortages, because these are very important. Manpower gaps are very important. Then successfully you can plan things. Supply forecast is another aspect. This is on the existing HR inventory and the demand forecast. The supply forecast has to be carried out, and subsequent sections. Then quantitative approaches. Now we are talking about the approaches, how to, and the demand forecasting purposes. What are the approaches? One approach is your quantitative approaches, and then another is qualitative approaches. So quantitative approaches where again basically it is involved in your statistical and the mathematical techniques. This is a trend, and apart from that, the trend analysis, modeling, multiple productive techniques, as well. Then quantitative techniques are used there. Now, some of the steps are there for the trend analysis. There are some of the steps. First steps: select an appropriate business factor. Then this should be the best available predictor. Second is plot a historical trend of the business. And third is you compare the productivity ratio for at least at least 5 years you have to see. And fourth is you calculate the human resources demand by dividing the business factors and the productivity ratio. What are the productivity ratio and the business factor? You have to divide it. This is the way you can also derive the your human resource demand. Finally, the project human resource demand out of the target area. Firstly, you have to target area based on the, you have to do it. Now, multiple predictive techniques. There are so many techniques are there in the qualitative approaches. Earlier we have discussed the quantitative, now qualitative approaches, where the expert forecasts, Delphi techniques. That means basically you have to take a feedback or view from the expert peoples. So that is the technique of their workforce analysis is another important. You have to see existing workforce, their skill, their educations, and how much are utilization of things, and from where you can get it, the workforce. So all this analysis you have to do it. Then workload analysis is another aspect is there. Though should be equity, I mean everybody should have equal loading depending on their responsibility. So workload analysis is also important. And finally your job analysis, because this is a basic criteria, because without job analysis you cannot describe the descriptions of the job and your specification of the job. It cannot be derived from this until and unless you are not doing the job analysis. So job analysis is a prime requirement. So there are normally two sources of supply, internal and external sources there, that also you have to consider as a supply demand ratio. Responsibilities of the human resource department in respect of HR plan. Assist and the council operating managers to plan, set up the objectives. Assist and counsel the operating managers to plan and set the objectives. That is one of the things. By the mutual discussions, you have to do it. What are the objectives? That is the thing. Then collect and summarize the manpower data, keeping long-term objectives and broad organizational interest in mind. So, this is some of the responsibilities for the human resource department, and these are the things that are there. So, then another aspect is the monitor and the measure the performance against the plan, and keep top management informed, because whatever the things are there, that has to be informed to top management also, or in turn you have to involve the top management. That is a very requirement. Provide the proper research based and effective manpower of the organization planning. So all this part is that. Now, the main problems in the process of the HRP are as follows. Some of the problems we have to see in analysis. So HRP is entirely dependent on the HR forecasting and the supply. That is one of the part is there. Sometimes the missed data, I mean the information may not be correct. So in chances of inaccuracies. Another problem area is employee resistance, because any new things, the employees can be react. The resistance will come from because of their union feelings and they buy the HRP. So workload increases, sometimes they may resist the process. So that is one of the problem area to be considered in the mind. Uncertainties. That is also labor absenteeisms, labor turnover, then your seasonal employment, technological changes, market in fluctuations, and these are all the uncertainties. Then inefficient information systems. The MIS, that is basically we are saying the MIS systems. That MIS, sometimes managing information systems should be efficient. System should be there. So that is sometimes maybe because of that the communication systems can be distorted. We're not getting the correct information in right times, or so that's why the HRSI is important. Human resource information systems are required, very important. Time and expenses. HRP is time consuming and expensive exercise of theirs. So that is all of the problem areas has been defined. Now, few guidelines to improve, how to improve the things. There are some of the things that are effective. For effective HR planning, what to do? The guidelines to improve so that it could be effective HRP process. Then your tailor-made HRP, this is what should be the balance with the corporate objectives. What are the objectives you have set it? That has to be balanced with your HRP planning. Appropriate time. The period of HRP process should be appropriate to the needs and the circumstances of the organizations. Then educate organizations. Then your top management support. As I said, top management support is important when you are in planning in this process. Through this, during the process, management involvement, the support, the commitment is also required. Participation. HRP will be successful if the organization is participating from all levels. Participation is very important. From the labor, the unions, and all the section and department head should come in meeting and give ideas and give informations all required. So participation is one of the important. Information systems to be strong enough, it should be adequate system, database should be there. Then balanced focus, the quantity and the quality should be stressed in a balanced manner. Then job analysis. Now coming to job analysis. As I said, this is a prime requirement. So where you can indicate the training needs, put together the work groups of the teams, provide the informations and the conduct the salary systems survey also, provide a basis for the determining the section selecting plan, provide a basis for the putting the together requirements. So all are the objectives of the analysis. And plus add on some of the more objectives are there, physical needs for the various positions, then your input for the organizational analysis. I mean, from your job analysis, you can get the input for the further so many studies. Strategic planning also you can do it based on your job analysis. Is also input. Then your basis of the coordinating the safety concerns also. And job analysis should collect the information in the following areas. From which are the areas are there, you have to collect the information. That is one of the areas, duties and the tasks. That is also one of the things. Environment is another area. Environment has a significant impact on the physical requirements to be able to perform the jobs, because the way he is working, their culture, their mindset of the people's behavioral science part is also there. So the job analysis or the environment is very important. Then your tools and equipment is another aspect. Is required. These items are mentioned job analysis, which are required to perform the certain tasks and duties such as the protective clothing. Then your relationships, because the supervision give and received, the relationships requirements is there, the knowledge requirement is there, another things, skills, abilities, is KSA, the knowledge and your skills and abilities. In short, this is KSA. KSA is required to perform the things. Then your questions, because you have to survey and to collect the things. So some procedures are there. There's the interviews. You have to take some questionnaires. Through these questionnaires, you have to conduct some of the interviews and collect the informations. So questionnaires should be provide the following basic informations: what the job title and the job holders. You have to circulate all the questionnaires, your subordinates, the workers, and the employees, and take the feedback. Maybe by the interview directly, or you may structural questions are there. Some structured or unstructured questions will be there, where they can allow to give us some time to answer the things, and after that you can collect all the information. So there should be criteria for the questionnaires. That's why what are the jobs he is doing, he is happy or not, the title of the number of the staff reporting to job holders, brief description of the overall role, purpose, and so on. What are the duties doing? So interview basically to obtain the full flavor of the job. It is usually necessary to interview job holders. The aim of the interview is to obtain all the relevant facts about the jobs as listed in the section of the questionnaires to achieve the aim of the job analysis should be. So ultimately, it's a see that their job satisfactions. This is really the evaluation and the job evaluation part is done or not. So all feedback are required. What the logical sequence of the questions should be logical. Pin people down on what they actually do. Then ensure that the job holders is not allowed to get any of the vague or the inflated descriptions on his own or work. That also you have to ensure it. Then you obtain a statement from the job holders authority to make the decisions and account of guidelines, the guidances received from his or her superior. That also you have to see. Statement you have to take it from the job holders. Then coming to job description and the job specifications. As I say, the job description and the job specifications are output of the analysis, because based on the job analysis, You can byproduct. You can say it is all a byproduct of the job analysis part. The job description is prepared on the basis of the data collected through the job analysis. Okay. And job description is a functional description of the content what the job entails. Means description is basically where what type of job you have to do it, that are figured out. What is the specification is different, where you have to specify the things other way. So analysis the job descriptions is important. So, but in the case of specifications, it may be derived, which is a statement, because it is a statement of the skills. This much year of experience is required. Graduation, minimum graduation is required. So this is the way age. These all are the fixed, and the statement of the skills are specified. So some of them are the recruitment and the selection, training, the job evaluation, performance appraisals, and organization planning. These all are the uses basically for job descriptions. Now coming to job design. So it is actually process of deciding on the contents of a job in terms of its duties and responsibilities. So design are basically based on the what type of duties and the responsibilities. Accordingly, job has to be fixed. So job designing techniques are divided in basically into two categories. That is one is your job rotations. Their job rotations basically shifting the jobs, the employees from one job to another job basically within the working groups. So it is designed as a, for example, for banking. If you entered in the bank, you see their cashier section there, inquiry, then after that, some officers are sitting there, they are doing their draft, some calculation. Finally, what are the check issuing or check receipt? I mean, and enter in the database and figure out. So there are different type of jobs in there. Now sometimes they are reshuffling the manpower. Those who are in the gas station, maybe the truck sessions. So truck station people can be again go back to the gas station. This is the way that some rotation is there, so that then everybody should have a better idea. So that all these things, in absence of anybody, can be done. So that is the basic idea of the things. So rotation is there, is required. Then design the allow the qualified and the talented employees to gain more insights into the various process of the company. The idea is so that the talent people can assess them in between, suppose in the next year or when the similar type of project will come, you can utilize the manpower. So before that, you have to train them, some sort of, you can say the training, job rotations of the way you can increase the knowledge, development and the confidence levels also increased. So, and another aspect is this is the way you can decreases the monotony and the boredness also can reduce. You can change the words and then maybe you will act accordingly. So to accelerate the things. So increase the training and development cost also. So how about it, in this case maybe the cost will be increased, but that is manageable, and that is a for the future investment purposes. Now job enlargement is basically enlargement, that is a process of increasing the scope of a particular job. You have to just enlarging the things. The scope are expanding. So adding more tasks and the duties. Job enrichment is a procedure. It is increasing the responsibility of your employees, allowing the employees to set their own standards and the performance. That way we are enriching the people. It's a process. Basically, it is a procedure. Providing the autonomy of the employee to execute the job, then encouraging the employees to innovate new techniques and the review results, then empowering the individual to make critical decisions in problem situations while on the job. This is all are the beneficiaries of the things. Now, evaluations. It is also the role of evaluations. The aim of the measuring of the value of the job descriptions. That is also part of it. Responsibility. And then the process of the analysis and the assessment of the job to ascertain their worth in the systematic way. Then analysis of the assessment, the content of the job, and some international labor as per the things, the ILO, as we know. So job evaluations is basically to attain the determinant and compare the demands which the normal performance of the particular job makes on the normal workers. That way the ILO has given a definitions. Another thing, the recruitment is the process of identifying the prospective employees, then stimulating and encouraging them to apply for a particular job. And it is positive actions as it involves inviting the people to apply. The purpose is to have an inventory of the eligible persons from among whom the proper selections of the most suitable persons can be made. This is one of the statement and definition also. Now, factors of the affecting the recruitment. What are the factors? That is like geographical factors and the employment conditions where the organization is located. That is one of the factors. Effects on past recruiting successions. Then policies. It is also vital because the policies of the organization, like the promotion policies, so that is only, it will affect the recruitment. If the policy is not good, there is no promotions, so vacancy will not create. So recruitment process will be hampered, may not be required for the recruitment. So something mixed things will be happening. Compensation and the benefits packages are also important because it will affect. Sometimes the compensation packages are not attractive because of maybe the new entities. I mean, the talent people are not attractive. Educated, skilled people are not attractive. So that's why compensation and benefit package are also to be considered. Otherwise, it will affect the recruitments. Then method of the recruitment can be put into three categories. There are three categories: one, direct methods, indirect methods, and third-party methods. Here, actually, we are talking about the recruitment process. There are three ways we can recruit the manpower. Selection process. It is the process of choosing the most suitable candidates out of many interest candidates. That is the process of selecting the best and the rejecting the rest. So right man for the right people, right jobs. The basic principle of the selection. Significance of the test. Now, test is required. Why it is a written test? Whatever the things. Because idea is to proper assessment and the objective assessment, then uniform basis, selection of the better persons, and the labor turnover reduced. So all are all these things are test through this test method. You have to select the pupils. Now here some of the successive hurdles are showing here. The selection procedures. For that, you see some preliminary interview is done. Maybe that time, maybe let it be 500 people are there. Then after, based on this interview, you can reduce the thing, application forms. Then something will be rejected. The rejection part is there. Then after that, some second round interview. Again, some of the rejections will be there, and balance will be carry on. That is the way you have to see. Then your testing, then your work history, you have to see. Then references. References is also important. Physical examinations, medical test, whatever it is. Then your slowly recommendations and can go to the higher authority. They have to your interview with the supervisors and finally the employment. So applicants who get over one or more on the primary hurdles are sent for a physical examination. So there's a process there. As I shown the diagram, same thing. Physical examination service and it goes to the indication regarding the fitness purposes of the employee. So this is the way you have to carry on. Discover the existing disability is also important. Record thereof, and which may be helpful later in the deciding the company's responsibility in the event of the workman's compensation claim. It helps in preventing the employment of those suffering from some type of categories and the disease that also you have to identify from this medical test of the race. So it helps the placing those who are otherwise employable, but whose physical handicaps may necessitate assignment only to job specified. So accordingly, you have to see all these inputs are required. Then applicants' medical history also, as I said, height, weight, general examinations purposes, skin, any muscular, any joint problems are there or not. So all these things you have to see. And specifically, some of the jobs are really required. Some talent areas or some of the difficult areas are there. There you require some of the body fitness or all these things. Visuals and your auditory activity, also clinical tests, eyes, ears, etc. Examinations, chest for your lungs, BP, heart, pathological test, urine, blood, everything, extra X-ray, and even the COVID-19 test. Nowadays it is introduced. So this is also a requirement. And neuro scientist is there, and you should you would realize that the importance of these characteristics varies from the job to job, because job to job it varies. So therefore, different weightages have to be given to the each firm and overall evaluations. So this is all of the physical examination part required. Then references check. The applicant is asked to maintain his applications. Sometimes this may be previous employees. You have to check from the previous organization's employer. Give a call, tell me what is the performance he has done during this financial year or previous years. Any dispute or any court case, anything, any grievances are there or not. So that any complaint, that you have to inquire the things before things. References are reputed persons or not. So that's why sometimes as a cross check, you have to see. And maybe sometimes you can request to the concerned previous company, you can approach them to give a mail or telephone to request to furnish some of the frank opinion about this candidate without incurring any liabilities. So about the candidates, either then they are assured that all the informations supplied will be kept confidential, because you have to assure them this is all confidential. So yet often either no response is received. So it is generally a favorable response. Sometimes suppose you are not getting any response, so you think that is it. If it is a wrong, definitely they will be informed. So that is the way you have to, somehow you have to close the chapters for the information. So socialization is also important because of the process. You have to adjustment. It is a learning process because the newcomers are coming. They have to try to learn more. And they have to see these companies where the workplace and dynamics and the cultural environment. They have to slowly adjust, adopt all the things as early as possible. So they developed new roles and that reconfigure the social identity, and your adopt the new teams, norms, and the practices for the new behaviors. All these things. Socializations basically it is a continuous process. So, however, it is most intense when the people move across the organizational boundaries, such as when they first join the company or get transferred to an international assignment. That is also very important when they are deployed in the outside the countries. So that thing is very is required. They should know the culture of the other countries and their viewpoints and other institutional systems, the government norms, etc. The social rank of a person's comparison to others in a social system is referred to as a status because that is the way you can see the status of things. There are two kinds of status, one the formal and the informal. The formal status refers to the rank of the people as designated by the authority structure of the organizations. So maybe as a professional, maybe the managers. This is the status of the company side. At the same time, informal social rank you have to see the persons because of their feelings towards the him. So it is the position which one has to inform informal social systems. So this desire for the status is one of the strongest motivations forcing them among the people at work. Now, induction. Induction is a process through which a new employee is introduced to the organizations, and it is a process for welcoming and individuals into the organizations. Any neglect in the area of the inductions and the orientation may lead to high level turnover, confusion, wastage of the time, and the expenditure. So that's why the induction is very important. Before start anything, because in the halfway, when the people are already involved in the particular task, that time you are giving us some additional information which are likely to be, it might be given to the initial stage, then it will create a chaos because you may not be maintaining the things. So in the initial stages, you have to inform what are the culture of the company, what the company expectations, what are the objectives of the companies, what are the policies, what are the rules, everything has to be informed to the employees through these induction programs so that it should be covered, all the things. Some company's history, then product, process, and productions, what is going on, what are the important part, and the significance of the job, with all the necessary information about including the job training and job hazards, everything has to be declared, informed. Structure of the organizations is all another aspect, and the function of the various departments may be required to rotate. The roaming the section, somebody has to escort from the HR department to introduce all the department. Yes, so and so persons has joined today. So this is Mr. This and that, so that he can familiar with the things, who is the departmental head, and some instructions are required so that in future, if any help required, he can go directly and take the start the meeting and a discussion same way. So that fair will be over, and introductions. So that's why the introduction is very much needed. So the nature policy, the information is important because the policy is very important, where everything are all these information is there. So what are the practices, objectives, regulations are there. Then terms and conditions of the service, what type you have to behave, the expectation of the company, then your amenities and the welfare facilities you have to discuss in the induction program. Rule and regulation of the governing hours, what are the working hours are there, and if any overtimes, that also you have to say. Safety and accident preventions, that also you have to aware the first thing, fire extinguisher there, and what type of safety if something is there, first aid box where it is lying, that also you have to inform if any emergency or that type of contingency is occurred situation, they can also help and contribute the things. Then grievance procedures and the discipline handling is another aspect that also to be noticed, also to be informed. What type of grievances are acceptable? Social benefits and the recreation services, then your opportunities, where the opportunity in the company. If any cafeteria or any lunch areas, there also you can move and show them this is your lunch time and this is the lunch areas, this is cafeteria, this is the restroom. So everything have to introduce to show everything. And if any promotional policy is there which are very attractive, that also you have to inform to motivate the things, to motivate the employees initially. And what about the transfer schemes also, that also you have to see where the logic behind the transfer and after the benefit of the transfers, the transfer scheme, that also we have to explain. Not only say only transfer. In this word, lot of question mark is there. So, sometimes the employee will take it in another way because they have to see his own interest first, family, children's educations. So maybe he will be reluctant to go there in the transfer. He's not happy with this transfer. So logically, I have to say initially itself, the transfer is more, our target is for the promotion, higher responsibility, career path, career development path. That is the way you have to highlight the things, and that should be make it policy also. So that they can take it as a not as a frustrated, not in a distressed mind. They have to take it happily. They can go there in the transfer, and they can go there. Knows after 2 years or 3 years I will be a project manager or something. My position will be enhanced. So that things you have to motivate. You have to that mindset is required. You have to do this. Then suggestion, the schemes and satisfactions, job satisfactions are prime requirement. Now then, your HR managers, global placement is also important. Take up the global placements activity. It involves managing the international relocations of the expertise, because those who are posting there and internationally, they should know they have to manage the local systems, providing a variety of the services for relocated employees. HR managers will generate the information about the employees, on-job related aspects, leadership skills, cultural openness, and adaptation. Language skills is another aspect. That attitude you have to develop. Then outplacement. Outplacement refers basically in-house help provided by the organizations during the transitions phases, basically, and downsizing phases also. And rehabilitations. These services offered include the counseling, training, retraining, skill up, gradations, etc. The services also include the housing, then your reassignment, job placement, etc. Now coming to mobility. Mobility is an organizational activity to cope with the change in the organizational requirement. Because based on the organizational requirement, you have to mobilize the manpower somewhere. So mobility is an organizational context include the mainly promotions and the transfer sometimes. Demotion also comes under mobility basically, but it is not a good thing. It's a negative aspect. Demotions, it is or should not be encourage the things to demotions. So first thing is the extreme situation for the demotions. First things you have to warn, you have to give a counseling, give a time to notify the things. If is still something happening not up to the mark, then demotions can be a thing. So that is also a part of it. Purpose of the mobility basically serve the following purposes. One thing is to improve the organizational effectiveness, then you maximize the employees' efficiency, then your scope of the changes in operations, and to ensure the discipline. That is one of the important part for the mobilities, so that we can have a better effectiveness of the company. Now, purpose of the advantage of the promotion, because the promotions, what are the advantages of theirs? That is, you see, according to the promotion provides the incentives to the initiatives. Enterprise and the ambitions. It minimizes the discontentment and the unrest. So it forms an effective reward for the loyalty and the cooperations, long service, etc. Also. So he purposes and the advantage of the promotions are basically see what are the advantage of then it will be more clear what are the purpose behind the promotions. Number one, it is you are recognized the employee's performance. You are recognizing you give a promotion to some sort of aspirations. You are giving some of the recognition. Yes, you are the eligible for the managers. Then develop the competitive spirit. You have a develop the things. Then develop competitive spirits the employees for acquiring the knowledge. Because if you promote at the same time, it may create okay. I will be taking the charge of these things, so I will be more responsible, and I have to know more. I have to acquire more knowledge, and the speed I have to upgrade my skill itself, so that employee will be motivated. Retain the skilled and talented employees. That is another part is there. Then reduce the contentment and the unrest. Sometimes very unrest. So that case, if you give it some promotions, maybe this unrest will be reduced. And utilize them more effectively the knowledge and the skills of the employee. Suppose somebody is not authorized to do, even though he is talented people, he is very talented, know everything, but you are not giving these positions by the promotion, virtue of promotions you are giving, not a manager position. So he is unable to exercise his duty or unable to exercise or unable to show to his performance. Because when you are promoted this level, now you can start the actions and show his capability, his skills, and everything. Another promotion is basically it is attract the suitable and the competent employees. Now, somebody coming to your separations is the last part of this block, where the separations is basically the retirement by virtue of retirement or resignations. This is the way we can say the separation from the company. So separation means the service. You are now terminated in the services, maybe due to some superannuations with the organizations for one or other reasons. So it may occur due to resignations, resign because resignations, and then the retirement, dismissals, suspensions, layoff, or maybe the cause of death also. So this is the basically your things. So main thing the resignations and retirement, and compulsory retirement is also, as you know, that some in the some of the 58 years or maybe 60. This is compulsory retirement there. And some cases premature retirement, suppose VRS schemes, maybe in the age of 55 years, you are allowing to take a retirement willingly. So there's some sort of things. And voluntary retirement is also, as I said. Then dismissals, is there, suspensions, then your retrenchment and layout. There's so many ways the separations part is there. There is also some policy should be there, and obviously that should be regulated by the government norms. Also, you have to see the what the government has given the rule and regulation that have to follow the labor law also, employees act. What are the employee act is there? Employees labor act to maintain the things. and we can due compensations, whatever it is. So I think now another part I have to say, now I have to, before close down the sessions, now I can now to recap the things, what are things we have already discussed. We have discussed today basically the human resource and manpower and the primary things, because you see, without the resource planning, we cannot, especially the human planning, we cannot do anything. What are the physical things and your financial part, we cannot put into use. We cannot use it until and unless the human intervention is not there. So to achieve the goal, the manpower requirement is essential. That we have come to know. Now, where the HRB, we are talking about the HRB is not is an assessment of the number only, but in the same case as a knowledge, because at the same time we have to see the knowledge and the skill to ensure the balanced allocation also. Main thing we have discussed about here, the moral productions, moral and the quantitative and the productivity during this stopping, basically at the time of stopping. So optimum manpower planning, what are the aims behind it? That's the one first thing we have seen, the balancing the demand, supply and distributions. And finally, your allocation of the manpower. That is the your optimization manpower. Then we have to see you're controlling the cost of the human resource. That is another aspect is there. Because if we have a good plan, then definitely we can reduce the cost also. So cost effective. Otherwise, suppose for example, we don't have any planning. What will happen? In a case-to-case basis, you are demanding, you are go for recruiting. If the management is saying, please hire 10 persons right now, but within 7 days, you are just in a hurry and have to take a selections process, whatever right away. So you don't, there will be more cost will be there. You will get it, you can manage the things. But planning, if you have a good plan, then in a nice way you can control the cost also. So human cost is also important aspect. Then formatting the policies and the transfer, succession, and relocation of the manpower. If you have a good plan, then you can pick up the things, the inputs, you can take it, and better you can plan the manpower, and you can relocate the things, and your succession process can be, the gaps will not be there. So many aspects are there. Now then after that we have discussed some of the your job analysis part we have discussed. As we say, the job analysis is the part of the particular things. After that, the byproduct, we can say that then job description and job specification can be prepared very nicely. If you have a good job analysis, then you can have a prepare the things also, which are also required for your job purposes, so that you can have a good task and what balance you can maintain. Job tasks also you can maintain. Lot of benefits from these pieces. Then recruiting procedures, as I discussed, some of the things are really important. So successful programs and your selection program is important, and then you can see the employable market, because you have to consider at the time of selection you have to see the market also, where the demand is going on, what type of skill are available, labor available. So all this part you have to see. Then your recruitment will be this is the way you can recruit also. So anyhow, I think now I've covered up most of the important part of the block 2. So now we're looking forward for next sessions. This is only block 3 of these things. So okay, thank you very much.